is generally down behind the decimal point, meaning that it's almost nothing in it. But what he says is that almost nothing in it is actually ultra concentration at times of other elements that are in the water. And the only way to fully remove everything out of the water, like what we would call lab water, is to use a UV filtration system, which is the same system that most laboratories and most places use, or they get their water from places that use that kind of equipment. So very easily you understand the difference between the two. Personally, you're talking about good, better, best, especially in relation to tap water. But again, if you're an ultra water connoisseur, you want to understand the difference between UV and condensation, these are the two. So let's go ahead and get our ppm meter here, so that way we can also test parts per million as we're going through this test today, because that's going to be very important. Okay, let's get to it, because we got a lot of ground to cover. And if people think that, I may be moving a little fast, it's one, that reason. And two, because I'm supercharged up, like that's what this is about. It's about the energetic potential within the elements that we're putting within our system. And we should be able to see that potential vividly, because that's what it's really all about. Like there is a real way to charge the body, to charge the blood. Also, with at the end of this video, we're going to source some more links. And those links basically explain to you how to look at some of the other videos. Excuse me, they give you information to some of the other videos that are out. Both of these videos are very old, but it is about the product that I'm showing you today, and a live blood analysis test of how it actually affects the blood. I'm going to go ahead and, well, you won't know this behind the scenes, but I'm going to go ahead and install this camera, put it on my chest, so you can look at what I'm looking at as I'm doing this testing, and that's how you get post-production done without cutting off your head. So here we go. All right, this thing is ready to go. Man, it feels so good to be back on camera. I've been obviously building the Secret Energy website, and that's been a fanfare, but it's also taken me away from a lot of the capacity that I'm normally in the social networks, and on the social networks, and also doing shows and things talking about consciousness. While I'm getting this together, I will tell everyone that you can also tune into what we have going on at astroquest.tv. Excuse me. That too, but astroquest.com will get you the actual main links to all of our resources. And then beyond that, you can also see us at astroquest.tv. You could see the run of AstroQuest Season 1, 2, and 3. We're available at the Resistance 2010 website. The Resistance is actually #1 on the Google for those keywords, so it's been quite a mission. And then obviously I wrote a book about 4 or 5 years ago called The Code of the Matrix, which teaches you about language, shows you the keys and the codes within language in order to understand how that's programming your system. So here we go. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to get familiar with what kind of testing we're going to be doing here and what kind of devices we're going to be using. So this device here is actually your standard TDS or your actual testing meter. This meter is going to give us how many particles per million are actually in the water. This other device here is known as a HANA HI98121. For those people that are looking for it, it is an ORP tester. Excuse me, there's a screen right up here that I keep looking at. So if you're wondering why I'm looking over the camera, just realize that sometimes I forget. Okay, I'm looking at here. But anyway, so what this is that this is an ORP tester and a pH tester. It also tests the temperature of water, which won't be useful for us today. But what will be is the ORP testing and the pH testing. So let me go ahead and get this board. Actually, we won't even need it. I'm going to explain this ORP to you so that way it becomes very clear. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and use it as a visual representation. Let me see if I could just zoom in just a little bit over there and turn it over here just a little bit. And there you go. So let me explain this to you of what ORP is and why it's so valuable for you to actually know what the ORP is of what you're consuming, because it has a lot to do with the fountain of youth. And here we go. ORP is oxygen reduction potential, okay? O-R-P. And I'm going to explain this simple. It actually works contrary to how we generally do our calculations about positive and negative. So that's the only thing to really catch on to here, that actually positive ORP is what you don't want, or the bad one. Negative ORP is actually what you want. That's the good one. And so let me explain it very briefly. What ORP is basically, it's how much is the element oxidizing. So to understand oxidation, the apple when left out starts to turn brown. That is oxidation. It's basically getting older, right? So from there,